What if I told you that the secret to happiness isn't about getting more, achieving more, or becoming more, but about caring less? What if the key to unlocking your masculine potential lies not in grinding harder, but in mastering the ancient art of strategic indifference? I'm about to share with you a 100-year-old philosophy that completely transformed my life and the lives of thousands of men who've embraced this counterintuitive approach. This isn't about becoming emotionless or disconnected, it's about understanding what truly deserves your emotional energy and what doesn't. If you're ready to break free from the prison of caring about everything and everyone's opinion, smash that subscribe button, and let's dive into the philosophy that changed everything. My name is Anderson Serra, and today we're exploring Michel de Montaigne's revolutionary approach to happiness. A philosophy so powerful that it's been secretly used by successful men for centuries. But here's the thing, most guys get this completely wrong. They think not caring means becoming a cold, heartless person. That's not what this is about at all. 3 months ago, I was drowning in anxiety, constantly worried about what others thought of me, stressed about outcomes I couldn't control, and burning myself out trying to please everyone. Sound familiar? I was living in what I now call the caring trap, that exhausting cycle where you give your emotional energy to everything and everyone except yourself. Then I discovered Montaigne's writings, and everything changed. Not overnight, but gradually, like a weight being lifted off my shoulders. I started sleeping better, making clearer decisions, and paradoxically, people began respecting me more. My relationships improved, my work became more focused, and I found a peace I didn't even know I was missing. But here's what blew my mind. The less I cared about certain things, the more successful I became in the things that actually mattered. It's like I had been scattered across 100 different concerns, and suddenly all that energy was concentrated into what truly deserved my attention. The ancient Stoics understood this. Modern psychology confirms it, and successful men throughout history have practiced it. Yet somehow, in our modern world, we've been conditioned to believe that caring about everything makes us good people. It doesn't, it makes us exhausted people. Today, I'm going to break down exactly how this works, why it's so powerful for men specifically, and how you can start applying this immediately. But first, let me tell you about the man who figured this out 500 years ago. Michel de Montaigne wasn't your typical philosopher. Born in 1533 in France, he was a man of the world, a lawyer, a mayor, a diplomat, and most importantly, a keen observer of human nature. What made him different was his radical honesty about himself and his refusal to pretend he had all the answers. While other philosophers of his time were trying to build grand systems of thought, Montaigne was asking a much simpler question. What do I know? His famous motto was Que sais-je? What do I know? This wasn't intellectual humility for show. It was a practical approach to life that freed him from the burden of having to be right about everything. Montaigne lived through some of the most turbulent times in French history, religious wars, political upheaval, social chaos, yet he managed to maintain his sanity and happiness by developing what he called the art of living. Central to this art was understanding what deserved his concern and what didn't. He wrote about this in his famous essays, where he said, "My life has been filled with terrible misfortune, most of which never happened." Think about that for a moment. How much of your stress and anxiety is about things that never actually occur? How much energy do you waste on scenarios that exist only in your mind? But here's what makes Montaigne particularly relevant for modern men. He lived in a world where masculine identity was under constant pressure. Sound familiar? He was expected to be a warrior, a scholar, a gentleman, a leader, all while navigating complex social and political dynamics. The pressure to perform, to be perfect, to meet everyone's expectations was crushing. His solution wasn't to become a hermit or to stop caring about everything. Instead, he developed what I call strategic indifference, the ability to consciously choose what deserves your emotional investment and what doesn't. This isn't about being selfish or uncaring. It's about being intentional with your most precious resource, your mental and emotional energy. Montaigne understood something that modern neuroscience has confirmed. We have a limited capacity for concern. When we spread that capacity thin across everything, we become ineffective at everything. When we concentrated on what truly matters, we become powerful. He also recognized that much of our suffering comes from trying to control things that are fundamentally outside our control. The weather, other people's opinions, the past, the future, these things will be what they are regardless of how much we worry about them. Yet we exhaust ourselves trying to influence the uninfluenceable. But here's where it gets really interesting for men specifically, and this is something most people miss about Montaigne's philosophy. Modern men are caught in what I call the hyper-responsibility trap. We've been conditioned to believe that being a good man means caring about everything: your career, your family, your friends' problems, social issues, politics, your appearance, your performance. What strangers think about you, what your ex thinks about you, whether you're successful enough, strong enough, smart enough. That's just killing us. Literally, men's suicide rates are at an all-time high. Depression and anxiety among men have skyrocketed. We're more isolated, more stressed, and more confused about our role in the world than ever before. And one of the key reasons is that we've never been taught the art of strategic indifference. Think about it. When was the last time someone told you it was okay not to care about something? When was the last time you heard that being selective with your concern was a sign of strength, not weakness? We're taught that caring makes us good, but we're never taught that caring about everything makes us powerless. Montaigne saw this clearly. He wrote, "We are all patchwork, and so shapeless and diverse in composition that each bit, each moment, plays its own game." What he meant was that we're trying to be everything to everyone, and in doing so, we become nothing to ourselves. The pressure on modern men is unprecedented. We're expected to be emotionally available, but not emotional. Strong, but not aggressive. Confident, but not arrogant. Ambitious, but not selfish. Caring, but not needy. It's an impossible balancing act that leaves us paralyzed and exhausted. But here's what Montaigne discovered. When you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you become something powerful to yourself. When you stop caring about meeting every expectation, you start meeting the expectations that actually matter. When you stop spreading your energy thin, you start concentrating it where it counts. This doesn't mean becoming callous or uncaring. It means becoming selective. It means understanding that your capacity for concern is finite, and therefore precious. It means recognizing that saying no to some things allows you to say yes to the right things. The masculine energy thrives on focus, on purpose, on direction. But when we're scattered across 100 different concerns, we lose that focus. We become reactive instead of proactive, anxious instead of calm, scattered instead of centered. And this is where most men get it completely wrong when they first hear about this philosophy. They think it means ... Let me be crystal clear about something. There's a massive difference between not caring and strategic indifference. Not caring is apathy. It's giving up, checking out, becoming emotionally numb. Strategic indifference is wisdom. It's consciously choosing where to invest your emotional energy for maximum impact and personal fulfillment. When I say stop caring, I don't mean stop caring about everything. I mean stop caring about things that don't serve you, don't align with your values, or are completely outside your control. There's a huge difference. Here's how to tell the difference. Apathy says nothing matters. Strategic indifference says everything can't matter equally, so I choose what matters most. Apathy is passive and destructive. Strategic indifference is active and constructive. Montaigne cared deeply about his family, his work, his health, his personal growth, and his contribution to the world. But he didn't care about what people thought of his appearance, whether he was considered the smartest person in the room, or whether his ideas were popular. He cared about being authentic, not about being perfect. This distinction is crucial for men because we're often accused of not caring enough when we try to implement this philosophy. But the truth is, we're not caring less, we're caring more effectively. We're not becoming emotionless, we're becoming intentional with our emotions. Think of it like this. If you have $100 to spend, you could spread it across 100 different things and have no real impact anywhere. Or you could invest it in 10 things that actually matter to you and create real value. Your emotional energy works the same way. The men who master this become incredibly attractive not because they're cold or distant, but because they're centered and purposeful. They're not reactive to every little thing that happens around them. They're not seeking validation from everyone they meet. They're not trying to solve every problem or fix every situation. Instead, they're focused on what they can control, their actions, their responses, their growth. They care deeply about their mission, their values, their relationships that matter, and their personal development. But they don't waste energy on drama, opinions of strangers, or outcomes beyond their influence. This creates what psychologists call emotional resilience, the ability to remain stable and focused regardless of external circumstances. It's not about being unfeeling, it's about being unshakable. Now, let me show you exactly how to implement this in your daily life. Starting with the most important principle, ... The foundation of strategic indifference is understanding what psychologists call the circle of control. Imagine 3 concentric circles: what you can control, what you can influence, and what you cannot control at all. Most men waste 80% of their energy on that outer circle, things completely outside their control. You can control your actions, your responses, your thoughts, your habits, your choices, your effort, your attitude, your words, and your focus. That's it. Everything else falls into the influence or no control categories. You can influence some outcomes through your actions, some people through your behavior, some situations through your choices, but influence is not control. You can plant seeds, but you can't force them to grow. You cannot control other people's actions, thoughts, or feelings. The weather, the past, the future, the economy, politics, what others think about you, outcomes of your efforts, how others respond to you, whether you succeed or fail in any given attempt. Here's the life-changing insight. Successful, happy men spend 80% of their energy on what they can control, 15% on what they can influence, and 5% or less on what they cannot control. Most men do the opposite. Montaigne figured this out centuries ago. He wrote, We are tormented by the opinions we have of things, not by the things themselves. The opinions, those are in your circle of control. The things themselves often outside your control. Let me give you a practical example. You're worried about a presentation at work. You can control your preparation, your practice, your research, your attitude, your effort. You can influence your delivery, your confidence, your connection with the audience. You cannot control how people react, whether they like it, whether you get promoted, whether the technology works perfectly. Where do most men focus their energy? On the things they can't control. They worry about the reaction, the outcome, the judgment. They rehearse conversations that may never happen. They imagine failure scenarios they can't prevent. They exhaust themselves on the uncontrollable. Strategic approach is to put 80% of your energy into preparation and practice, 15% into your delivery and presence, and 5% into accepting whatever outcome occurs. This isn't just more effective, it's more peaceful. But here's where most guys struggle. When they first try this approach, the biggest mistake men make when implementing strategic indifference is going too far too fast. They hear "stop caring" and think it means becoming emotionally unavailable to everyone and everything. This creates more problems than it solves. Mistake number 1. Caring about nothing instead of caring about the right things. This leads to isolation, damaged relationships, and a sense of meaninglessness. The goal isn't to become a robot, it's to become selective. Mistake number 2. Using not caring as an excuse for not trying. This is just laziness disguised as philosophy. Strategic indifference means caring deeply about what matters and giving your best effort there, not caring about outcomes beyond your control. Mistake number 3. Confusing not caring with not feeling. You'll still feel disappointed, frustrated, or sad. Sometimes the difference is that you won't let those feelings control your actions or define your worth. Mistake. #4. Applying this philosophy to everything immediately. Start small. Pick one area of your life where you're wasting energy on things outside your control. Master it there before expending. Mistake number 5. Not communicating the change to people close to you. If you suddenly stop reacting to drama or stop seeking approval, people might think you don't care about them. Explain what you're doing and why. Here's the right way to implement this. Start by identifying the top 3 things you're currently worried about that are completely outside your control. Write them down. Then ask yourself, what can I actually do about this? If the answer is nothing, practice consciously redirecting your mental energy when you catch yourself worrying about it. For example, if you're worried about whether your boss likes you, recognize that you can't control his opinion, but you can control your work quality, your attitude, and your professional development. Focus there. If you're worried about whether a woman you're interested in will respond to your text, recognize that you can't control her response, but you can control being genuinely interested in her as a person rather than trying to manage her perception of you. The key is gradual implementation. Don't try to revolutionize your entire mindset overnight. Pick one area, practice there, build confidence, then expand. This is a skill that takes time to develop, not a switch you can flip. And speaking of skills, let me share with you the practical techniques that make this work. ****. Now let's get tactical. Here are the specific techniques I use and teach to implement strategic indifference in your daily life. The 24-hour rule. When something happens that triggers your need to care, give yourself 24 hours before responding. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? If not, let it go. The energy audit. Every week, write down what you worried about, got upset about, or spent significant mental energy on. Then categorize each item: control, influence, or no control. Notice where you're wasting energy. The opinion filter. Before getting upset about someone's opinion of you, ask 3 questions. Do I respect this person? Do they know me well? Is their opinion based on facts or assumptions? If the answers are no, their opinion doesn't deserve your energy. The outcome detachment practice. When working toward a goal, focus 100% on the process and 0% on the outcome. You can prefer an outcome without being attached to it. Care about your effort, not the result. The drama declutter. Identify the people, situations, and topics that consistently drain your energy without adding value to your life. Gradually reduce your involvement. You don't need to be available for every crisis, argument, or drama. The redirect technique. When you catch yourself caring about something outside your control, immediately redirect your attention to something you can control. This trains your brain to focus on what matters. The value alignment check. Before investing emotional energy in something, ask, does this align with my core values and long-term goals? If not, it's not worth your care. The perspective. Zoom. When something seems urgent and important, zoom out. How will this affect your life in the bigger picture? Most things that feel crucial in the moment are actually minor in the grand scheme. The energy budget. Treat your emotional energy like money. You have a limited amount each day. Budget it carefully. Don't spend it all on low-value concerns. The acceptance practice. Daily. Identify one thing you cannot control and practice accepting it completely. This builds your acceptance muscle for bigger challenges. But here's what happens when you actually start implementing these techniques consistently. The transformation that occurs when you master strategic indifference is profound and multifaceted. It's not just about feeling better, it's about becoming more effective, more attractive, and more authentically yourself. Your decision-making improves. When you stop caring about what everyone thinks about your choices, you start making decisions based on your values and long-term goals. Rather than seeking approval or avoiding criticism, your decisions become clearer, faster, and more aligned with who you want to be. Your confidence increases. True confidence comes from internal validation, not external approval. When you stop needing everyone to like you or approve of your choices, you develop an unshakable sense of self-worth that others find magnetic. Your relationships improve paradoxically. When you stop trying to please everyone, your relationships get better. You become more authentic, more present, and more valuable to the people who matter. You also naturally filter out people who only valued you for what you could do for them. Your stress decreases. The majority of stress comes from trying to control things outside your control. When you focus only on what you can actually influence, your stress levels drop dramatically. You sleep better, feel calmer, and have more energy for what matters. Your productivity increases. When you stop getting distracted by every drama, opinion, or crisis around you, you can focus deeply on your priorities. Your work quality improves. Your goals become clearer, and you make faster progress. Your attractiveness increases. There's something incredibly attractive about a man who isn't reactive, isn't seeking validation, and isn't trying to please everyone. Women are drawn to men who are centered, purposeful, and unshakable. Your leadership improves. Leaders who aren't swayed by every opinion or crisis are more effective. When you care about the mission more than the criticism, people naturally want to follow you. Your resilience increases. When you're not invested in outcomes beyond your control, setbacks don't devastate you. You bounce back faster, learn more effectively, and keep moving forward. Your authenticity increases. When you stop trying to be what everyone wants you to be, you discover who you actually are. This authenticity is not only liberating but also inspiring to others. Your peace increases. Perhaps most importantly, you develop an inner peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. You're still engaged with life, but you're not at the mercy of every up and down now. Let me address the biggest concern guys have about this philosophy. I know what some of you are thinking. This sounds selfish. What about caring for others? What about being a good person? This is the most common misunderstanding about strategic indifference, and it's important to address it directly. Strategic indifference isn't about being selfish, it's about being effective in your caring. When you're scattered across 100 different concerns, you're not actually helping anyone very much. When you focus your caring on what truly matters, you become incredibly helpful to the people and causes that deserve your attention. Think about it this way. A firefighter doesn't try to put out every fire in the city simultaneously. He focuses on one fire at a time, gives it his full attention and resources, and then moves to the next. This isn't selfish, it's effective. The same principle applies to your emotional energy. When you try to care about everything, you're like a firefighter, running around with a garden hose, never spending enough time or resources to actually solve any problems. When you focus your care strategically, you become like a firefighter with a full truck and crew, capable of actually making a difference. In fact, strategic indifference often makes you more caring, not less. When you're not drained by trivial concerns, you have more energy for the people and causes that matter. When you're not reactive to every drama, you can be truly present for real crises. Montaigne understood this perfectly. He cared deeply about his family, his friends, his work, and his contribution to society. But he didn't waste energy on gossip, politics he couldn't influence, or the opinions of people he didn't respect. This made him more available for what mattered, not less. The selfish man cares only about himself. The strategic man cares about what he can actually impact. There's a huge difference. Moreover, when you model strategic indifference, you give others permission to do the same. You show them that it's okay to have boundaries, to be selective with their energy, to focus on what matters. This is a gift, not a burden. The world doesn't need more people who care about everything superficially. It needs more people who care about the right things deeply. It needs men who are centered, focused, and purposeful, rather than scattered, reactive, and anxious. So how do you start implementing this today? Here's your action plan, .. Here's exactly how to begin implementing strategic indifference in your life. Starting today, week 1, the awareness phase. For the next 7 days, simply notice. Don't try to change anything yet. Just pay attention to what you're worrying about, what's taking up mental energy, and what you're reacting to. Write it down. The goal is awareness, not change. Week 2, the categorization phase. Take everything you noticed in week 1 and put it into 3 categories: control, influence, and no control. Be honest about which category each concern belongs in. Most men are shocked to discover how much energy they spend on the no control category. Week 3, the redirect phase. Now start practicing redirection. When you catch yourself worrying about something in the no control category, immediately redirect your attention to something you can control. This is like training a muscle. It takes practice. Week. For the boundaries phase, start setting boundaries around your energy. Pick one source of drama or unnecessary stress and begin disengaging from it. This might mean unfollowing certain social media accounts, avoiding certain conversations, or saying no to certain requests. Month 2, the expansion phase. Apply these principles to one major area of your life: work, relationships, or personal goals. Focus on controlling what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Month 3, the integration phase. By now, strategic indifference should be becoming more natural. You should notice less stress, clearer thinking, and more focused energy. This is when the real transformation begins. Remember, this is a practice, not a destination. You'll have setbacks. You'll forget and get caught up in caring about things outside your control. That's normal. The key is to notice it quickly and redirect. Your homework for this week: identify 3 things you're currently worried about that are completely outside your control. Write them down. Next to each one, write one thing related to that situation that you can control. Focus your energy there. Final thought. Montaigne lived 59 years, in a time when most people died in their 40s. He remained curious, peaceful, and engaged with life until the end. He didn't achieve this by caring about everything. He achieved it by caring about the right things. The secret to happiness isn't getting more, achieving more, or becoming more. It's caring less about what doesn't serve you so you can care more about what does. This isn't just philosophy, it's practical wisdom for living a better life. If this resonated with you, subscribe for more content on masculine psychology and practical philosophy. And remember, the art of not caring is really the art of caring wisely. Master this, and everything else becomes possible. What's one thing you're going to stop caring about this week? Let me know in the comments below.